Welcome back. Well, we have the Orange County Fire Authority with us right now. We have PIO Captain Larry Kurtz. Always good to see you, Larry.
Thanks for inviting
us
back.
And then we have Education Specialist Milton Nira.
Yep,
Did I pronounce that right?
That is correct, absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you as well.
It's a pleasure. We're going to talk about a couple things before we get to talking about space heaters and that sort of thing. The first thing we're going to talk about, which happened on December 30th, was, of course, the Sky Tower over at Knott's Berry Farm got stuck at, I don't know, about 125 feet up, whatever it was. And you guys had to rescue people.
Yes.
And so tell us how you did this. This was, you know, you had to do a lot, and it took some time to do because of the logistics of it, right?
Yes, that's correct. This is one of our more unique rescues that we've had.
Right.
Now, the Sky Tower, it's called the Sky Cabin Ride.
Right.
For those of your viewers who remember back in the days when Knott's Berry Farm still had the parachute rides.
That's right, I remember that.
This was a ride that went up the center of a 220-foot tall tower. Now,
right.
They took down the parachute rides, but the tower, the Sky Cabin ride is still there. It goes up the center of the tower and spins. You know, gives you a 360-degree view of the Buena Park area. One of the things that we do in the Orange County Fire Authority, and almost any agency does, is we always take a look at these situations, and we always ask ourselves the what ifs.
Right.
You know, and we ask ourselves, well, what if this gets stuck? What if it is actually higher than our truck ladder? Now, our truck ladders are only 100 foot tall.
Right.
This was 135 feet. So it was just beyond the reach of our aerial ladders. I think in the center picture you can see just a little bit short.
Yes.
We weren't going to have people try and jump for it. No, that was not going to happen. Now, obviously, we want to bring the people back down to the ground safely. And the good news for the Sky Cabin ride is that time was on our side. No one in the cabin. We had, I believe, 21 people. It was 20 passengers and one ride operator inside the cabin. No one was having any medical issues. Nobody was having any, you know, it's enclosed. It was not out in the elements, so time was on our side.
Right.
Outside of some people needing the bathrooms after a few hours.
Yes, exactly.
So obviously the first option was to try and bring the ride back down to the ground.
Yeah.
Now, that wasn't going to happen because, from what I understand, the ride has an air brake system that was malfunctioning and it wouldn't lower down. So we always think about what's plan B, what's plan C. Plan B was we were actually going to lower the riders of the Sky Cabin ride down to the ground one by using what we call lifeline. It's rope, but better than rope. It's got a 9,000-pound braking strength. This stuff's very, very strong. So what our rescuers had to do, we used our technical rescue trucks. We have specially trained individuals called Urban Search and Rescue special technicians, and they are on 4 different trucks throughout Orange County. They're trained above and beyond the standard firefighter complement of skill sets. They are on our Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. Some of these guys have actually gone to Katrina. So what they actually had to do is they climbed up the center of the tower. It's a 220-foot tall tower. They get to the top of the tower. Then they have to rappel off this section here. I think you see in this picture here.
Yeah, you can see.
They have to actually rappel down to the roof of the Sky Cabin, where they open up a roof of the Sky Cabin ride and drop into where the riders are located. After that, then we set up another rope system, and there's actually a removable floor section in the Sky Cabin ride.
I didn't know that.
And what we do then is we actually can put people in rope harnesses, and we actually lower them down to the ground using more rope. Now, this rope is very, very long. We have stuff that goes up to 600 feet long.
Wow.
So, you know, we're not worried about the length. We had one firefighter accompany each individual down to the ground.
Yeah, we can see in the bottom photo there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, that's because for a firefighter, you know, stepping into a 145-foot void with nothing but air below you, it's not a big deal to the firefighter.
Right.
To, you know, the average individual, you know, that takes a little more coaxing.
Yes, exactly.
So one by one, we just drop them down, and they would just climb back up, and they would repeat the process over and over and over again until we got everybody out. The whole process took about 2.5 hours to get everybody out. From what I understand from the rescuers that were doing the rescues, the children and the women obviously went first. The children loved it. They could not wait, to go down the rope ride.
Right.
Once they got down to the bottom. Some of the adults started acting like children and had a little more coaxing. But the good news is everyone got off the ride. Everyone was safe. There were no injuries. Once they got down to the ground, half of them, the first place they wanted to be directed to was the closest restroom that was available.
Yes, I can imagine.
There were no restrooms available on this ride.
Yeah.
And so all in all, it turned out to be an excellent rescue, an excellent demonstration of the capabilities of the OCFA's urban search and rescue specialists.
That's fantastic. And I'm glad everyone was safe, and I know they're Knott's and Cedar Fair, they're looking into that, and I think they had refurbished it just a few years prior. Things like that happen, of course,
yes.
But you folks were prepared.
Yes, as I said, we take a look at everything, all buildings and rides, and we always ask ourselves the what ifs and what happens on, if this doesn't work, what is plan B, what is plan C, what is plan D? And we always try and have contingencies for those things.
Exactly. Now, in kind of a turn of unfortunate irony here,
right.
The first responding station to this, which is quite literally about 100 yards away across the street, Station 61, right. I think last week, had a fire of their own.
Yes, it was a good week and a bad week at the same time.
Yeah.
At 3:30 in the morning, we received notification that Fire Station 61, which is located on the 8000 block of Western Avenue, directly across the street from Knott's Farm, was on fire.
Right.
Hopefully,
we'll bring up
the slides for that. So what occurred there is the fire station has 9 firefighters that live inside the fire station, as well as administrative offices.
Okay.
We have an engine company, a truck company, and a battalion chief that live at that fire station. The engine company was actually out on a medical call, an emergency medical call, when they discovered the fire.
Right.
Firefighters at the fire station discovered the fire, and they exited the building. So they did exactly what we want every person to do if they discover a fire in their home.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
Get out. You don't need to call 911 at that point. Just get out. That's the first priority. So the guys from fire station, from Engine 61, actually came back to the fire station after dropping off their patient and began fighting the fire at their own fire station. So the irony definitely was not lost on us.
Right, exactly.
This was a 2-alarm fire. It destroyed the entire station. Inside the apparatus bay, which is a large garage in the fire station, unfortunately, we did lose our ladder truck.
Right.
We lost a battalion chief command vehicle. We lost a Swiftwater rescue squad and a Swiftwater rescue boat with a rubber Zodiac boat that we use for Swiftwater rescue. All told, we have about $1.5 to $2 million worth of loss in vehicles alone in the garage. The fire station itself is almost 50 years old.
Right.
It was actually built back in 1966.
I can remember years ago going to Knott's, seeing that.
And one of the few fire stations that actually have poles in it.
Yeah, in fact, there, I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be additional Knott's parking back there.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So unfortunately, we lost that. We lost the millions of dollars of vehicles in the fire station and the fire station itself, which will total well into the millions.
Right.
We're in the process of, the irony of this is we're in the process of building a new fire station. We're in plans with Knott's Berry Farm to conduct a land swap, and they wanted the land that the fire station is on, and we needed a new fire station.
Right.
For now, while the investigation is ongoing, they have not determined the exact cause of the fire as of yet. Service to the Buena Park area will continue without fail. Our truck company is, the good news about Orange County Fire Authority is we are a very large organization.
Right.
We have lots of relief equipment, and we had another truck in operation within hours of that occurring. So the truck company will continue to serve the city of Buena Park from the Stanton Fire Station, which is only 2-3 miles down the road.
Exactly.
The battalion chief will operate out of a Cypress fire station, Station 17. And the engine company was graciously given quarters by Anaheim Fire Station 11. Anaheim Fire reached out to us, offered their fire station to house our engine company that was nearby. So we thank the Anaheim Fire Department for their hospitality. It may take this is going to be a temporary solution until we get a temporary fire station that we can move all of our people into, because it's not just the firefighters, it is the administrative, it's the support staff.
Exactly.
It's our, they all base out of, it's a very large fire station.
Well, the good news, everyone was safe. That's the best news.
Yes.
And folks were already looking into building a new station anyway, so maybe it'll happen a little bit quicker.
Right. As I said, the good news is everyone was accounted for, everyone is safe.
Yes.
We can rebuild fire stations. We can't rebuild firefighters.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the cause. I sent a text out. I don't know if you got it or I was saying, I hope it's not one of those, what you call those zip line cords. They weren't, that you guys always warned against.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
We try to practice what we preach at the OCFA.
Well, now we're going to talk about something that hits home as far as safety. Of course, this time of the year, Milton, people want to heat their homes. Sometimes you don't want to turn on your big heat system, your HVAC system, so you'll turn to what's called space or room heaters. And they can pose a real threat, a real fire hazard if they are not handled properly, if they're an old style, the wrong kind. And we got a couple photos here today, but also some statistics as well. And heating equipment is about second.
It is second indeed. Yeah. However, when it comes to, unfortunately, civilian deaths and fatalities, is actually right there with cooking, and also with smoking, at 19%, almost 20% as well. So it's something that we're definitely concerned about. We want to make sure the community is safe, obviously, and want to make sure that, especially during the months of December, January, February, when the chances increase, obviously, that people are aware of what we're talking about.
And some of these older style space heaters, we see one here in the lower corner here, basically they are almost like the infrared or radiant heat.
Correct.
And they're very much like an exposed element that's in your toaster, the older style.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people do, if they don't have the means to pay, obviously, for heating sources, then they go to the swap meet or other sources, or family members, and they borrow and or buy inexpensive equipment, but sometimes can malfunction and is not working properly, and or obviously out to date, or perhaps is not being tested by the UL Underwriters Laboratory and or approved by OSHA. So it's something that we want to make sure that people take the time and do some research and find out exactly what they're buying and what they have in their homes. And especially they want to make sure you have a safety zone, as you can see in the picture there, 3 feet at least minimum, of space between obviously the heater, the source for that matter, and of course where you are, and or in this case the bed or the blankets.
And the older style, a really old style, but they may have one that they don't have an automatic shutoff.
That is correct.
If they overheat the cord or they fall over, that's even more dangerous.
And what we do often is we're tired, we're cold perhaps sometimes, and we want to do this quick. And so what we do is we grab an extension cord and we run it, right? Okay, and then of course that increases the capacity in the outlet, which of course increases the chances of a fire. So we want to be careful, and as you can see in the picture really quick also, no safety zone, of course, and some of the heaters nowadays, what they do is you can turn them off, but they will still remain warm for at least another 20-30 minutes. So that's another concern. People get a little comfortable with that, and then may get things closer to the heater, and of course risking the fact of getting a fire there.
Yeah, and the thing is about these heaters, people want to heat a room, and I understand that. Believe it or not, especially some of the non-efficient styles, some of the older style, they're like 1,500 watts. That's like 1,100 light. You're not saving any money.
No,
you're better off using your heat system in the house.
That is correct.
They're a tremendous amount of energy hogs. Good to see you, and we'll be right back.